Hello and welcome to another episode of the Confident Musician Show. You are tuning into 5 pro tips of how to overcome inferiority complex. My name is Brett Cusack, aka Megalove, and I'm a musician, songwriter, music educator, and life coach. And at the Confident Musician, we help musicians to overcome self-doubt and overwhelm and create more confidence than you ever thought possible so you can make music and share your unique talent with the world. If you find anything useful, valuable, or interesting in this video, please let us know in the comments. Your feedback is super important to us. And if you know somebody who else is dealing with inferiority complex, please chuck this video over to them in a DM or tag them in the comments. All right, let's jump into our 5 pro tips of how to overcome inferiority complex. Tip number 1 is you can only ever feel your own power. And I got this from one of my mentors called Mitch Bean from MJB Seminars. And what the importance and the value of this is to, when you are feeling inferior to somebody else, you're only actually feeling your own power. So the beauty of it is that what you see in them is also in you. So if you're admiring somebody and feeling inferior in relation to them, it's just because you are being shown something that you need to learn. So life is giving you some information for you to now act on to actually make some changes in your world. Let us know if you're tuning in live. Tip number 2 is, what are the actual characteristics and traits of this person that you're fearing in comparison to? So as you list and write down this person's name and all their characteristics and trait, you can start to identify that these are the things that you're probably being too humble or not being able to own, love, and master in your own world. Tip number 3 is, where do you have these same characteristics or traits in a similar or in the same or similar kind of way? And then I want you to list as many examples as it takes for you to own it. So list who sees you do it, including yourself, where and when you do it. And as you start to list it, you start to own that characteristic and trait in your own life, and you'll start to feel a little bit more worthy and not feeling so inferior. Tip number 4 is, what are all the downsides of these traits? Because if we infatuate with some part of somebody else, or also once we acknowledge it in ourselves, we're starting to see that we only want the good side of life. We only want the positive without the negative, the peace without war, the pleasure without pain. So we want to just bring down these infatuated characteristics or traits so we can see them for what they really are, which is pleasure and pain. And when we're in a more centered state of presence, we will probably make more decisions that are in line with what is most important to us, and we actually choose which pain that we want instead of trying to get one side of the coin. So if we're feeling inferior to somebody, it's just because we're seeing something in them that we are not acknowledging in ourselves, and then we're also perceiving that to be more important or only have one side without the other side. Tip number 5 is to get a coach or mentor to guide and inspire you along the journey to help speed up the process. And that's why I've created my latest course, which is called Confidence and Happiness Secrets for Musicians. And if you are aware of the fact that throughout this video, you've probably started to realize that there might be some problems behind the problems that your life is trying to teach you, but you do not have the information to understand. So that's why I've created my latest course. And inside there is a whole bunch of video trainings on how to master time management for musicians. There's how to create rockstar confidence. There is how to write songs that stand out. There's access to our private Facebook group and a couple of other really cool bonuses. There's about $1,800 worth of value inside the course, and you can get it on the link below this video for less than the cost of a packet of strings. I don't know how long it's going to be at that price for, so make sure you grab a copy today. All right, let's recap our 5 pro tips. Tip number 1 is, you can only ever feel your own power. What you see in them is in you. So if you are feeling inferior to somebody, starting to look up at them and actually say, what is this situation trying to teach me? How is this actually helping me learn to grow? Tip number 2 is, what are all the characteristics and traits that you admire in that person? And then tip number 3 is, where do you have those same characteristics or traits in the same or your own unique way? Because that person's value system is always different to yours. Their priority list is different to yours. So your unique expression of that trait will always be in relation to what's actually most important to you. And then list as many examples of who, when, and where you have that to the same degree, so you can actually own it and then move through that with certainty that you actually have the same thing. So you're not going to feel inferior to somebody that you see as an equal. Tip number 4 is, what are all the downsides to these traits? So if you admire someone for being strong or powerful or significant or talented, what are all the downsides to those things? So the downside of being powerful is that people follow you around and don't actually, they might not tell you the truth. They might just tell you what they want to hear. A drawback of being really strong all the time is people expect you to be really strong all the time, and they get annoyed when you're actually, a whole human being, and you sometimes need to take a chill pill. The downsides of being really talented is people expect you to always be talented, and not, when you fail at things, they're like, oh, you're talented at this, why aren't you, really good at this? So you may, have that part of yourself on a pedestal, and then, be attached to it, or never want to let go of it, or lose that thing that you might have. Tip number 4 is the downsides of all those traits. So that you, which is what we just talked about then, the downsides and of that. So that person and yourself, so you're not on a pedestal and they're not on a pedestal. And tip number 5 is to get a coach or a mentor to help speed up the process. And yes, it is going to cost some money for you to invest in your growth, but you value yourself and you're worthy of it. And it's going to cost some money. And I've lost my train of thought. But the most important thing is, and a lot of my clients talk about the fact that they wish they did it sooner. So you cannot buy more time, but you can make more money. So if it seems like I might be the right person to help you along your journey, then I would love to be able to help. So all you got to do is book a 15-minute call with me on the link below this video. And in that call, we're going to have a very detailed look at what's going, where you want to go with your music career, what some of your challenges are, and then we're going to create a bit of a plan of how that might work if we're going to be the right fit to work together. All you need to do is book a call on the link below this video. I do have a limited amount of places every week, but they do book out, so make sure you book one in right away. I hope you've loved this video. If you do know somebody who is suffering from some inferiority complex, please tag them in this video or send it to them in a DM. And if you found something useful, valuable, unique, please let us know, because your feedback is really important to us. Until next time, make music, make a difference, and I will see you on the next video. Goodbye. Yeah. Boom.